Welcome to a quick build video to allow you to host and stream your own music. No more relying on paid for platforms. For this video, we will be using Debian Trixie as the host OS, Navidrome as the music server and MusicGrabber for acquiring the music. Let's begin. Install Debian. For this, I am using a basic virtual machine with 4 GB RAM and 2 vCPU. You don't need a lot of power for this. I downloaded Trixie from Debian.org. There are a lot of guides on how to install into virtual machines or direct to hardware. I'm not going to cover any of that. I'm going to show a base install. Install Debian Trixie. You don't need to do much, but hit Next. Set the root password. Set your username. I'm using Tunes, and set the password. I've sped up some of this video. It gets boring waiting for packages to install. Set a desktop environment. I've picked XFCE to keep it lightweight, but any will work. Install the bootloader. Hit reboot. Wait for the boot screen. First time takes a moment. Done. Sign in. Let's move on to Docker. We'll make sure that Debian is allowed to install contributed apps. This is useful. We need to edit a file called sources and just add contrib to the main package lines, like so. We'll update and install the needed packages. Just to explain Docker, it allows software to be easily downloaded and run in its own little area on your computer without disrupting anything else on the file system. It's way more complex than I made it sound. But if you think of it as a pod, and pods can be allowed to talk to each other and your computer, you have a basic understanding of it. Navidrome and MusicGrabber both use Docker containers, so we're going to install it that way. Docker first. Off to Docker to grab the packages we need. We'll be copy and pasting for ease. Then configure the config files, run the command that launches them, and that'll be it. It's simple, just follow along. Now we have Docker installed. A quick logout to put the tunes user in the right permission group. After we have installed certain packages, it's easier to just log out and back in to allow Linux to give you your new permissions. Navidrome install time. We'll make a directory in our home called Dockers to store the files in. Since we're doing this locally, all the music will also land into our home music folder when we have finished. The Docker config file is called Docker Compose YML, and this is a text file. I'm editing this using the command line, but you can just as easily use a GUI text editor. Just make sure you save the file into your home folder inside Dockers and save it with its correct name. You'll see I've updated the volumes, which to be inside of the home directory in the Dockers folder. You'll need to create the extra folder inside of Dockers called Navidrome, and another folder inside that called Data. Yup, that's where Navidrome will save its persistent data to, such as settings. Linux is case sensitive. If you have any issues, always double check the case. Also, I am enabling the logoval to be informational. Let's launch Navidrome with the Docker compose up command. Open a web browser and point it to localhost and port 4533. Navidrome, your new music streaming castle has arrived. However, after setting up your user, we have an issue, a serious lack of music. MusicGrabber time. Edit that Docker compose file again. This time, we're going to add in the MusicGrabber config. You can grab it from the GitLab home site. You don't need the whole config, that's for advanced usage. Just grab the bit I have highlighted, copy and paste it below your Navidrome config. Be warned, Docker is very picky about spaces. Make sure there are only 2 spaces before the word MusicGrabber. We set the music directory in volumes to your home folder's music and indent correctly. Save the file, Docker compose up D. The D is to demonize and put it in the background. It takes a moment to pull the image, loads the program, and that is done. Off to localhost and port 38,274. Let's take a quick tour. Head over to the Settings tab on the right. You will find what you need to set to get yourself going in here. You'll need to make a decision on whether you want to specify a format for your audio. I like FLAC and Opus, just to keep it clean. Realize that converting audio to a format like FLAC does not magically get better quality. This is only here as a preference. I'm happy with Opus as my default audio choice. It's smaller than FLAC and I cannot really tell the difference. There's a lot of settings on how files are named and sorted. This started out as a hear a song. I want that song system and is designed to pull singles. You should set a playlists folder, and as we scroll you can see there are a lot of settings for integrations, notifications, etc. We'll get to those in a minute. I toggle off, save, and on, save, the monochrome option. Preminus 2.818, there was a new install bug where it looked enabled, but wasn't. Let's turn on the lights and leave Opus as the conversion destination. If you toggle that off, you'll get whatever the services hand you. Let's search our first track. Click on the Results First tab. Click in the search box, type artist song, such as Nirvana Come As You Are, and click search. For most services you can hover to preview. On mobile you click the play button that appears. See that high-res badge? Yeah, that's a great quality track. Cool, that works, but we actually will go for a different track. DNA Tom's Diner. A hover test. Yup, click and it'll download. Switch to the Q tab to see what's happening. Q tab can take a while to show you what's happening. Looks good. Open your file browser and check into your home folder's music folder. Drill down through singles and voila, there's the song and hey lyrics. That Nirvana empty folder was from a previous test. I'll bin that to clean up as I'm here. Let's have a look at what that has done to Navidrome. Open a tab and look at localhost port 4533. Great, there it is. You can now start to make your music collection. I like Nirvana, but what if I want to try similar artists and tracks? Click Similar, and a Listen Brains lookup happens, which will populate you with a 25 artist of similar tracks. Hover Preview works here too. It looks good. Let's download the lot as a playlist. Check back to the queue to watch it work. You can check the file system to see the playlist and files arriving. Navidrome needs a quick reindex. The playlist has also arrived, although it's not fully populated at this time. I'm not sure ABBA's Dancing Queen is similar to Nirvana, but that's anyway music brains. Let's pop into settings and make sure we have playlists enabled. The singles folder is getting messy already. Also, while we're here, let's get the integration set up for Navidrome. You'll need the URL, port, and user name and password. Localhost seems to make sense, but we're into Docker containers. Grab the real IP address. Outside the scope of this tutorial, you want to look into put Navidrome available via the internet, whether a caddy reverse proxy or tailscale or a tunnel. I'll let you go down your own rabbit holes. Now we have this configured. Watch what happens over in the Navidrome tab as tracks arrive. Let's give Navidrome another track to live test with. Queue it up, see the scanning library message for an instant. Head to Navidrome. Next up, bulk import. You can use a file with a list of artists' song titles, type them in the box, or pull a playlist from the top providers, including Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube Music. Let's grab something from Spotify. Lots to choose from. Top 50 Global will do nicely. Grab the URL. Back to MusicGrabber, bulk import, paste, and fetch playlist. Create the M3U, give it a name. You can set a preferred source if you want, but the built-in waiter is pretty good. Then download away. A running job is displayed below the bulk import in progress. The Q tab has more information about what is actually happening. How about an album? We can do that too. Bush, great band. Pick from the list generated on MusicBrainz. This will give you their studio albums. Pick an album. This gives you the tracks. You don't need the playlist, but you might want it. Once you're happy, download the album button. We already have other songs downloading, so information will be slow as they don't update the track information until it's fully converted on disk. Q tab shows the information, as per usual. If you are on mobile and you just want to grab a song locally from your server, you can scroll below the queue and see the downloadable to device list. Click Save next to a track to pull it local. Great for when you need flight mode, eh? Something to always do is check songs to make sure they are the right version. Bugger live version. Let's fix that. Delete the file from disk. Refresh Navidrome. We don't want the Navidrome dupe check to block the download. Back to search. Remember the artist, unlike me. Check for the correct version of the track. Annoyingly, Monochrome sent the live version as the album version. Not much we can do about that. Second one in the list is correct though. Right, let's not click that until we put it into its rightful place. Now we click it. Check the queue. Check the Navidrome. It can be quirky. I clear all missing files if it's being weird. down to the album, and voila, there it is. Next up, watched lists. Those Spotify auto playlists get updated weekly, some monthly. So why don't we watch them and update on a schedule? Copy the URL for the playlist and head to MusicGrabber's watched playlist feature. Paste it in. Set how often to update. You can append or mirror the playlist. For fun, we'll turn off conversion on these files, enable the M3U generation, and put the music files into singles. If you feel advanced, you can pick or create a folder just for this playlist to land in. Click Watch, MusicGrabber will get to work. I know it says last checked. Never, because that only updates on the cycle. First add doesn't change that field. Right, the Q tab is saying some of these tracks are already in the library. That's because of Navidrome dupe checking. We won't pull the same tracks over and over to fill up your disk unless you disable the dupe check feature. Playlists will update and point to where the track is on the disk automatically. Look at Navidrome, it will show you only one version of the song. If you check the playlist, you can see it building in real time. You can refresh a playlist manually, check for missing tracks and which exist on disk. You can also copy and use the URL in a browser if you forgot what playlist you are using. How about watching an artist for their released singles? That was the project intent, anyway. A little Billy E, only for tracks released since Jan 2023. You can check missing, the queue, etc. Oh, nice. From YouTube this time. In settings, you may see something saying it is config locked. This has been turned on via the Docker Compose file. See the README or Wiki for MusicGrabber to see the rather extensive list. Fetching lyrics is enabled by default. You can also see all the sources where we can pull from. I highly recommend getting into Soulseek. Configure up how you want your music. You can even turn off album mode, which is useful for if you're also using something like Lidarr. You can set minimum bitrate for a track, permissions on disk, Unix, how many downloads happen at once, and a bunch of other integrations. Fun one, what if you have private playlists? You'll need a cookie. I'll demo with YouTube. Add the extension get cookies.txt locally to your browser. Go to YouTube, sign in. I've blurred it out. Once in, open the extension copy and paste that into the MusicGrabber YT cookies box. Hit test to confirm it's working, save settings for good measure. Right, now you can go and get a playlist from YouTube. Oh look, I clicked a playlist and got an ad. Grab the URL copy and close this tab.
Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't code.
Go to bulk import and paste the click fetch playlist. On large playlists, this takes a moment. Not bad, 1,283 tracks. Let's not download them now in this demo. How about users, though? It's all well and good being single user, but you might have a family and friends that want to use this. Settings. Scroll down until you get to user management. The first user is you. You become the admin. It's still single user mode, and your settings are saved. Go back to settings, scroll back to user management, and create a normal user. You'll be kicked out as you're now in multi-user mode. Sign in as the user. You can see they have most of the features, but some more admin settings have been taken away. Sign back in as admin. Let's create a peon user, the most limited. Settings, user management, create a peon. Sign out and back in as peon. WO, much less to play with. This is your, I don't want you messing about level account. Sign out, back in as admin. Settings, users, delete the old users, and you are back to single user mode. That concludes the basic tutorial for setting up your own music hosting server and how you can use MusicGrabber to gather some tracks to listen to. If you enjoyed this tutorial or get good use out of MusicGrabber, please donate a coffee. Happy listening.